Hello, this is Impoth, and I will be showing the parts of the flute, demonstrating the proper way to assemble your flute without damaging it, and the hand position, rasp spitting, a bunch of different things about flute. So today we're going to start by talking about the different parts of your flute. So you have the head joint here, and your head joint has the crown that controls your cork inside the flute, and your embouchure plate and your embouchure hole here. So this is where your embouchure goes, which makes sense. And the next part of your flute is the body of the flute. So the body of your flute has keys and these rods that connect your keys together. And this specific flute has plateaued keys that are covered instead of open hold, that are open keys. And then your last part is the foot joint, which is on the end, like a foot of a person. So the foot joint has a few keys and a smaller section of rod there to connect those. To assemble your flute, you need to be careful because you don't want to damage any of your keys. So have a good grasp on your head joint. And the best way to do this is you want to put your flute straight onto the head joint, the body straight onto the head joint. And then you can kind of twist it once you get it on there. And whenever you do this, try not to put too much pressure on the keys. And it's always better to go the direction they're going instead of trying to push them in the wrong direction because you could damage one. And to line this up, to line up the body with the head joint, you can look at your embouchure hole here and try to get it in line with your keys. And for your last part, the foot joint, you will be trying to line up these rods here down the side with the middle of your last key on the body of the flute. Like that. And then your flute is assembled. So after you have your flute assembled, you may want to try to hold it. And the best way to hold your flute is to use this section right here of your hand / finger. It's going to be above this bone, right there. And that is going to be supporting your flute. And then with that hand, your thumb will be on this key here. And your first finger will be here, second, third, and pinky. And with your right hand, your thumb will be resting on the bottom here to support it. And the rest of your fingers will be on these three keys and then this little key here. And that is how you position your flute. There's that. And you want to make sure you're not using your thumb to hold up the flute. You should be able to hold it actually with just your bone right there in your hand. Okay, and that is your hand position. So when you're playing, you're going to want to make sure that your lip is slightly over your embouchure hole. But you shouldn't be like this, and you shouldn't be back too far. So you want to just be a little bit over the embouchure hole. For flute, when you're wanting to start playing, after you've got your hand position set up, you've got your flute together, there is an exercise you can do that is rasp spitting. And this exercise helps because it keeps flute players from just thinking about breathing in and blowing air out. In this rasp spitting exercise, it is showing flute players that you just need to have the air pressure build up and the air will just flow out instead of trying to push and blow air. That's what you want to avoid with flute playing. So I'm going to demonstrate rasp spitting. Rasp spitting is going to start like this. You're going to breathe in. And did you see how I plugged my mouth in between my lips? I plugged that. The air built up, and then I released it. And when I released it, I'm trying to aim my air downward, so it's going to go into my flute when I'm actually playing. So it'll be like this. And I didn't put my rice on that time, but normally you would use your rice on there. And you can also do reverse rice spitting, which would be like this. You reverse it, and that's a good way to work on your breathing for flute. Another thing that you can do with rasp spitting is you can actually use your finger as a guide and make sure that your air is going to be blowing down here and hit your finger. That's a good way to find out if your air is in the right direction or if you need to adjust some things. So we've got through about the embouchure, we've talked about rasp spitting, airstream, we've covered a lot of topics. Another thing is to just really try not to tense up when you're playing flute, because that's going to cause a lot of problems. For flute, you need to really just relax. So I'm going to demonstrate some of these aspects, hopefully all of them, and I'm going to play hot cross buns. Thank you, and enjoy playing flute.